Hi guys. Before I'm going to walk the dog, shall I say, Ella. Before I do that, I wanted to discuss this topic. I was going to do this yesterday, and then I was going to do it later today. Blah 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 blah. But in the end, the Priscilla thing has come up. We've done some quite important Priscilla videos exposing her wrongdoing and things that we think have been unfairly portrayed. We've done part one, we've done part two with the Priscilla topic. I have posted the whole topic on our Defending Elvis Facebook page. Please follow that. I still need to do a part three, maybe even a part four. I also posted a short video concerning an interview she did in Australia, which I thought was a bit unfair to Elvis, where she literally just says Elvis was unfaithful and I had to put up with it. How could I live that life? Oh my God, look what I went through. Poor me, I'm a victim. I just was upset with the whole interview. I thought it was really cruel on Elvis. It was only a few weeks ago. Actually, no, a few days ago. When we know she's been unfaithful, she's admitted it many times. Even the people she was unfaithful with, like Mike Stone, has said it happened. So we know it happened. So to blame Elvis for everything. Oh yeah, Elvis did this, Elvis did this. I couldn't take it anymore, so I had to get out, even though she was unfaithful more than once. It's just so unfair on Elvis. If we're going to tell a story, if we're going to try and tell the truth, let's at least tell both sides of the story. So yes, okay, Elvis was no angel, fell for temptation, women falling at his feet. He liked the ladies. He was unfaithful, okay. He was away a lot. He traveled, making the movies, doing the tours. But so was Priscilla naughty. Let's get that bit in there. Priscilla was up to no good as well. She was no angel. She liked the men. Yeah, a fair, balanced, honest portrayal of history, of the truth, not a rewriting of history. We don't want history reinvented just to suit Priscilla. Priscilla paints a perfect fairy tale, but then says, oh, everything wrong in the relationship was Elvis's fault. Now, that isn't fair. So they're both human. They both made mistakes. They're both responsible for their mistakes. And Priscilla has never said sorry. She has never shown regret. She has never took any responsibility for her mistakes, for how she treated her own daughter, Lisa Marie. Yeah? Even concerning legal matters with her own grandchildren. Come on, guys. There's some serious wrongdoing. Priscilla has never promoted Lisa Marie's book, her daughter's book, the book From Here to the Great Unknown. Priscilla takes all credit for the opening of Graceland as a museum, for saving Graceland, for Elvis's memory being remembered. She takes all credit. More or less says if it wasn't for her, there'd be no Graceland and Elvis was going to be forgotten. So untrue. It's completely untrue. The reason Elvis is remembered is because of Elvis and his fans and his music and his movies and his legacy and his legend. Yeah, his talent, his voice. You get it? Not because Priscilla walks around parading herself as his wife, even though she was his ex-wife and left him 4 years before he died and was unfaithful many times. So, not one of sorry, I've got a delivery. Sorry, guys. One of the things that dog's barking. Okay, one of the things that Priscilla tries to say is that she is the reason. Ella. She is the reason Gracelands was not sold off. Guys, I've done my research. They were not going to sell it off. She's the reason that the Graceland, the Living Museum, was created. Not true, guys. They were working on the Living Museum well before Priscilla jumped on the bandwagon, yeah, and claimed all credit for it with Jack Sodden, yeah. Vernon was dealing with the council, with Memphis, and with the Colonel, consulting the viability of a living museum in Memphis, Shelby County, yeah. And it was all happening, guys. The plans were being drawn up. Everything was at hand to create a living museum. They were never going to break up Graceland's, no chance. It was going to be the biggest tourist attraction for Memphis ever. Elvis, come on, let's face it, guys. Elvis transformed Memphis into the biggest tourist destination especially Graceland, in the world, you know, second biggest, isn't it? Yeah, set next to the White House. So it was all going to happen, guys. I do agree that there were times when Vernon may have considered selling. Yeah, we've heard that he was offered money. Morgan Maxfield was involved in a process there where they considered all options, but the other big option was to create a living museum. Yeah, they knew the living museum was going to be a success because thousands were visiting the graves at Graceland. Remember, Gladys and Elvis were buried at Graceland, and at a certain time of the day, they had to allow the public to visit the graves at Graceland in the meditation garden at a certain time. Yeah. So there were so many thousands of people visiting the graves. They knew that if they charged $5 a head, that turning Graceland's Elvis's home, Gladys's home, into a living museum, it was going to be a sure thing. It was never a gamble to open Graceland as a museum, ever, a living museum. Yeah. Priscilla tries to give the impression that it was all her idea. She took this massive gamble and it paid off. Not true, in my opinion. Everything I say is for entertainment purposes, not fact, it's an opinion. We are an opinion sharing discussion YouTube channel, Facebook page. That's what we are. Okay, guys? So I put something together. Wanted to read it off to you before I walk Ella. But I'm not falling for it, guys. I'm not being hoodwinked by Priscilla. I don't hate her. But I want to expose when I feel she's misleading us, unfairly portraying history to suit herself as a poor victim and blame everything on Elvis. Remember how good Elvis was, yeah? Remember how kind Elvis was to Priscilla, how generous he was, how good he was to her friends, her family, to everyone around him. Come on, guys. Remember, he was a Christian man as well, yeah? So anyway, here goes. I'm going to read this off. I just want to say my standout point is she did not save Graceland. She did not prevent Graceland from being sold off and broken up, even stripping the wallpaper off the walls. It was not her idea to do the living museum. She isn't the savior of Elvis. She isn't the reason Elvis is remembered. Okay, that is my standout point. Okay, she takes all credit for everything good concerning Elvis's legend and legacy, and it's not true. So, in my opinion, yeah. So here we go. So Graceland open to the public. What is the truth? Defending Elvis, the real story of how Graceland became a museum. For years, fans have been told one simple story. Priscilla saved Graceland by opening it to the public in 1982. Now remember, guys, there was a massive debt on Graceland. A deed of trust was created to place a debt on Graceland by Priscilla's lawyers. Priscilla was owed a large amount of money because, in my opinion, she completely ripped Elvis off for the second divorce settlement. He couldn't afford to pay her, so she placed a lien, a charge on Graceland, Elvis's home, to guarantee she gets her money in installments, but she also demanded royalties as well, and spousal payments, and many other things. Yeah. So this gave her leverage, this gave her power because she was owed money. When Vernon was doing his will, he almost felt forced, in my opinion, that he had to consider making her a co-trustee, and the fact that she was Lisa's mum, Lisa Marie's mum. Yeah, obviously that was a big thing. He wanted someone who was going to look out for Lisa Marie's interest because Elvis was gone. Elvis did not want Priscilla in the will. He made that very clear. But Vernon, who was nearly close to death because he had serious heart problems, could hardly breathe. He couldn't think of anyone else to do it. Plus, Priscilla had leverage. I also feel that Priscilla was used as the front person when they launched Graceland as a living museum to the world. Yeah. She was used as the front person because she had leverage, because she had power, because a lot of money was owed to her from Graceland, from Elvis's estate. Yeah, this gave her power. So remember, she wasn't even at the opening day of the Living Museum. She was at the press launch a few days previous, but she wasn't actually at the opening day, as far as I know, allegedly. Yeah. So here goes, guys. So in 1982, she opens Graceland to the public. Now, I tried to explain what happened. I think I've said a lot of it in my little speech. After Elvis passed in August 1977, Gladys's graves were moved to the Meditation Garden on the 2nd of October 1977. So we know that there was a bit of some kind of attempt to break into the graves. So they decided to move Gladys's grave and Elvis's grave to the Meditation Garden. Okay, and this was on the 2nd of October. A few weeks later, on the 27th of November 1977, the Meditation Garden was open to the public for set visiting hours. I think they had to do this. I think Shelby County made it a condition. They allowed the bodies of Gladys and Elvis to be buried at Graceland in the Meditation Garden as long as the public at a certain time of the day could visit the graves. And that condition still stands today. Fans were visiting Graceland 5 years before the mansion opened in 1982, and this started under Vernon. Yeah, so the point of this is that so many thousands of people were visiting the graves that they all knew, everyone knew that if Graceland was a living museum, it would be a success because so many people were visiting the grave. So please remember that Priscilla is not with Elvis. They had divorced 4 years before he died, and she was unfaithful at least twice. Yeah. And she had other boyfriends that she lived with. Yeah. So she's not the love of Elvis's life. Elvis was not the love of her life. This thing about, oh, I still love him, all that, I want to be buried with him, it makes no sense because they had divorced. She had moved on. In fact, one of her partners she was with for 22 years, another for 6 to 7 years, another for 4 years, another for 6 years. Get it? So saying that Elvis was the love of her life makes no sense. So just so you know, Vernon was doing private tours of Gracelands. One of my subscribers went on one of his private tours. Debbie, yeah, remembers Vernon doing the tour. Remember also Todd Slaughter. Todd Slaughter also did these tours. Yeah, he would bring coach loads of British tourists to America, you know, and big tours all around Memphis and Tupelo, Mississippi. And part of it was going on to the Graceland grounds. I'm not sure if they were allowed in the house. I think only a few were allowed in the house, but there were tours of Graceland. Yeah. So we had so you know, they had been doing tours of Graceland years before Priscilla jumped on the bandwagon and claimed all credit for creating the Living Museum. Yeah. So let's have a look. A Memphis fan, there are. So it's mentioned here in my write-up. Debbie sent me this. Yeah, she sent me some very interesting stories. She was there. She remembers that she was there. She sent me many memories of her spending time around Elvis. She even met Elvis. I think her father and grandfather, friends of Elvis. You know, I need to speak to Debbie a bit more, but it's very interesting. Thank you, Debbie, for sending me this information. So fans from all around the world were already doing tours and visiting Graceland before 1982. So Todd Slaughter was the president of the British fan club. It's very well known. He's still with us, guys. I think he's just celebrated his 80th birthday. He's well known for doing tours and was good friends with Colonel Tom Parker. Even wrote a couple of books, one of them about Colonel Tom Parker. So let's have a look. So the city of Memphis and Shelby County discussed the museum. They did more than that, guys. As far as I know, they actually drew up plans. I think Morgan Maxfield may have been involved. There was a lot of work that had gone on behind the scenes to create the Living Museum and to develop the land in front of Graceland and parking and many other things. So it was all at hand before Priscilla came along. Yeah, even though she takes all credit for it. This was all at hand. So the Memphis Shelby County Chambers of Commerce, local tourism and development officials. So this was, you know, the city of Memphis. This was happening, guys. Of course it was. So they were already talking about the preservation of Graceland, possibly establishing an Elvis museum. Okay, guys? So then Morgan Maxfield, Jack Solomon built the business plan. So I think a few people did. I know that Morgan Maxfield and Jack Sodden was Morgan Maxfield's assistant. There's a rumor that Morgan Maxfield was engaged to Priscilla. I don't know. Is it possible? But he died in a plane crash. There's even rumors that he was trying to purchase Graceland. I don't know if that's true, guys. But the bottom line is, once Morgan Maxfield died in that plane crash, all plans changed. Yeah? Jack Sodden, his assistant, was noticed by Priscilla. So after Vernon died in 1979, Priscilla became trustee. She was told to sell Graceland because of death. I don't believe that. I honestly don't believe that. Remember, after Elvis died, there was a massive increase in sales of everything concerning Elvis. Yeah, whether it be records or anything related to Elvis, there was a massive boom of income. Yeah, for Elvis. So I don't accept that they were in serious financial trouble. I've never had any actual proof that they were in serious trouble. Priscilla likes to give the impression everything was going to get broken up and sold off. I'm not convinced. This is just an opinion for entertainment purposes, not a fact. I'm not convinced that it's true. But that is the story that Priscilla has always told us for the last 50 years. She stands by it. She still says it today. Okay? So I'd like proof of that. Yeah? I don't believe it. So a businessman, Morgan Maxfield, helped her explore alternatives. He encouraged the idea of opening the house to the public. Well, he did and he didn't, because it was already at hand. So I'm not convinced. I won't put everything down to Morgan Maxfield. He was one of the people that were looking at this. Yeah. So obviously, so there we are. So Jack Sodden is known as a financial expert. After Morgan Maxfield died, he stepped in directly and became CEO of Elvis Presley Enterprises with the plan of opening the museum in 1982. Yes, he did. But remember, Priscilla noticed Jack Sodden. Yeah. Jack Sodden had done a lot of work with many people to create this living museum before Priscilla came along. This is where I say Priscilla jumped on the bandwagon and then took all credit for it. Yeah. So Jack Sodden, I do agree, is a very pivotal person in all of this, in the creation of the living museum. Priscilla, I feel, made the best of Jack Sodden, even took advantage of him. But they have both benefited financially very heavily, where they came together as partners to help create, with other people, with the banks, with whoever's involved in creating the living museum. Okay, so there would have been business providers, financial planners. There was momentum already building for the fans. Memphis, Shelby County, and Priscilla. Just leave it on. Leave it on.
Sorry.
No, but just leave it on. The whole thing turned off, but it's still recording. Okay, guys, just leave it plugged in and on a minute. So I'm going to carry on. I'm nearly finished now. I'm just reading the last bit of it. It says still recording. I'm surprised it turned off though. Should have turned off because this should be charged up. Sorry, guys. Bit of distraction here. Right, I'm near the end of it anyway. So my guess is that it's still recording. I'm surprised that screen went off though. Shouldn't have done because the battery's fully charged. Anyway, sorry guys, I'm just talking to myself. Where are we? After Vernon died, let's have a look. The museum idea was being discussed before Priscilla stepped in. After Vernon died, we've done that bit. All right, we're just near coming to the end of it now, guys. So there was a lot of people involved. The real timeline: the meditation garden opened to the public in 19. Let's have a look. Oh yes, we've got. This is a bit of a timeline, guys. So the meditation garden opened to the public in 1977. Then you've got fans, British fans and other fans are doing mini tours. Even Vernon Presley himself was doing some tours of Graceland between 1977 and 1981. This proves that it was already acting partially sometime as a living museum before Priscilla. So when Priscilla tries to claim that it was all her idea, it's not true, guys. And it's unfair to Elvis. It's unfair to Vernon. It's unfair to the Colonel. It's unfair to all the people that work behind the scenes to create a living museum. Okay. So then we've got. I've already discussed it. When Vernon died, he almost had no choice but to make Priscilla a co-trustee. And then it mentions here about Morgan Maxfield and Jack Sodden. I think we covered that. So Graceland's officially opens as a living museum in 1982. Okay, so Priscilla is the front person. You know, she's a beautiful lady, but remember, a massive debt was owed to her because of the second divorce settlement that was still going on in 1977. Just before Elvis died, Priscilla placed a massive debt on Graceland, demanding more money. A debt to guarantee that she got her payment in installments. So, you know, she tries to say, oh, Elvis is the love of my life. Well, hang on a minute. In the last few months of his life, when he was very sick, it was so obvious Elvis was very sick in the last year of his life. She's there demanding more money. But then she talks about Elvis as if they were really close and got on really well and were good friends. I don't believe it. They were arguing, in my opinion, over money and over Lisa Marie over custody. Yeah. So, and she had placed this massive debt. This divorce, the second divorce settlement, which started in 73, was still going on in 77. In some ways, it was a third divorce settlement. She really was greedy and trying to get as much as possible. In some ways, she was trying to get complete control of Graceland. You know, alleged, just an opinion. But don't forget, once Vernon died, she basically did have full control, didn't she? Now, when she eventually sells off 85% with the help of, I think, Barry Siegel and other people to EPE, to Robert Silliman, the billionaire, well, all of a sudden, the control isn't there, is it? But a massive mistake should never have happened. Who knows what advice poor Lisa Marie was given by Priscilla and Barry Siegel and other people to sell 85% of Graceland's off, even to rent Graceland's to Elvis Presley Enterprises. Should never have happened, in my opinion. So I think that's it, guys. I will never accept that Priscilla is the reason Graceland was turned into a living museum, and Priscilla is the reason Elvis is remembered. Priscilla is the reason the legacy, the legend is remembered. I don't accept it, not for 1 second. Elvis is the reason, firstly. Secondly, it's the fans. That is the reason Elvis is remembered today in 2025. So it says here there's a combination of Vernon fans, Memphis, Shelby County leader businesses, advisors. So I do think eventually Priscilla does get involved. Once she is made co-trustee, yes, decisions are made that obviously influence many things. But the decision to create a living museum, I do not believe it was Priscilla's. Just my opinion. Did she stop Graceland's being broken up and sold off? I don't believe that. I just don't. Based on my evidence, my research, my understanding of all the facts. Now, of course, I'm just an Elvis fan in his kitchen. These are just my opinions I'm sharing. If you want to disagree with me, if you want to put in the comment section and you have different views, okay, so be it. But that is just how I see it. So whenever I see Priscilla being interviewed on TV or on different programs, I always think, you've created a fake fairy tale. You've got your version of rewriting history to suit yourself, to play the victim, to take all credit for anything good that happened to Elvis, even to Lisa Marie. Yeah, even recently, Priscilla was interviewed. Is it Sarah Ferguson? Yeah. Very questionable. Very questionable. I think portraying Elvis and Lisa Marie very unfairly. Yeah. I think Rhonda at Presley Mania did a video about it last night. People aren't all falling for it. I really do wish that the general public would look beneath the surface and do their research and learn the truth. I really wish that the journalists, the interviewers around the world made the effort to read the books, to do the research, to look at the documents, to understand the divorces, the divorce settlements, the whole concept of the living museum, how it was thought up. And I just wish people bothered to know the truth instead of thinking that Priscilla is still Elvis's wife, treating her like she is Elvis, and completely giving her all, what's the word? Elvis is only remembered because of Priscilla Presley. It's ridiculous. Why does anyone fall for it? Graceland only exists because of Priscilla Presley. It's ridiculous. Why does anyone believe it? Yeah, the public have been fooled, have been very gullible, and it's a damn shame. And this is why we run a channel called Defending Elvis, because we do our research. We come up with evidence. We try to understand the truth. Yeah, we try to get nearer to the truth. We stand up for Elvis, who can't stand up for himself. We stand up for Lisa Marie. She can't stand up for herself. Yeah. So someone's got to do it. We've decided we will do it. Donna Presley, Elvis's first cousin, feels the same way, and she is part of what we do. She's part of Team Elvis. We're so honoured that Donna Presley, Elvis's blood relative, her support has changed everything. We even have Ginger Alden supporting us, Elvis's last girlfriend. Get it, guys? Truth is what matters. Truth is what matters. Yeah. And this is what we're trying to do, guys. Dig in for the truth. Anyway, that's me done. We've got much more to come. Not today. I've done enough for today. We will do a dog walk with Ella, but no particular topic. We're just going to have a chat and a walk. And Ella loves the Team Elvis dog walks, doesn't she? And I know you guys love Ella. Right. Take care, guys. I hope our little glitch when we unplugged the laptop by mistake, I hope our little glitch hasn't ruined this whole video. If it has, I'm going to get a new wife, because a video is important. Take care, guys. Love you all. You're the best.